Good afternoon and welcome back to the Mugello circuit. Here we are in Italy at round 2 of the Ferrari Challenge for 2016. Having already visited Monza, we're here in Mugello, where the weather conditions are slightly different today to those that we had yesterday. There was the threat, though, of rain for this race. That appears to have gone away for the moment. More about the weather in just a mo. Monza, Mugello is where we're at. Still to come, Le Mans, Sochi in Russia, Hockenheim, Jerez de la Frontera in Spain, and then the glittering World Finals this year in Daytona, USA. What a calendar. What racing we have in prospect as race 2 for the CoppaShell category of the Ferrari Challenge is about to get underway. Delighted to welcome alongside me the CoppaShell champion from last year, Jacques Diver. Welcome for the first time into the commentary booth. Great to have you here.
Yeah, and a big privilege sitting next to you, Dave.
Ah, that's not the case at all. It was, at this very circuit last year where it all came good for you.
Yeah, I managed to win the series at this circuit, the finale race, which is the shootout between the different countries, the US, Asia and ourselves. Didn't go 100% to plan, but that's racing.
Yeah, absolutely. So this 5.2 kilometer Mugello circuit, it's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very technical circuit. All the drivers know that. And yeah, with today's conditions, with a bit of wet in certain places, is going to make it interesting. And some of the drivers out of position from qualifying.
Yeah.
Going to be an interesting race to watch.
I think you're right, absolutely. And basically there was quite a lot of rain overnight, and that meant that qualifying that went on earlier this morning, there were still elements of the track that were damp, and therefore it was this hideous decision that sometimes you have to make. Do you run on wet weather tyres? Do you run on slick weather tyres? And until you're actually out on the track, presumably, you cannot make that decision. That is our pole sitter, Tanny Hanna. He is going from pole. Thomas Loflat, who's leading the points at the moment, goes from P2 on the grid, as indeed he did yesterday. But it was Eric Prinot that was on pole position yesterday, and he is starting from a lowly, relatively speaking, P7, which is extraordinary. Certainly he didn't have a qualifying session that he wanted. It's the Mugello circuit then, and here's a little postcard for you. So that's where we're at then, the Mugello circuit. So I did say that I'd conclude what I was saying about the weather. It was expected to be very wet throughout the day today, and that's certainly not what we've got at the moment. There's the Tommy Lindroth car with Philip Barron on top of that car, and there is Tommy Lindroth, who had an extraordinary qualifying. He's one of those drivers that perhaps I didn't expect to see, Jacques, on P3. He's a lovely guy. Love Tommy to bits, but P3, that's brilliant qualifying from him.
Yeah, the beer hunter, as we all get to know him. I think he likes this kind of weather, being a Swede.
Yes.
And they're used to driving in icy conditions or whatever. And he's always good in the wet, whenever we've had wet races.
Oh, well. We will see in just a few moments' time just how Tommy Lindroth does from that P3 qualifying position. Race 1 was yesterday. And here were the highlights. It was a real drag as Eric Prinot and Thomas Loflat absolutely side by side into turn 1, that Sant'Anata turn, and thankfully Eric Prinot was able to hold on to that lead. Thomas Loflat doing his level best to get right alongside, but once you were turning into the corner, there was no question that he had got the advantage. And look at this, he immediately built up a huge margin over Thomas Loflat, and throughout the course of the grid there were things happening, and a bit of a problem there for Matson in the 199 car, but Thomas Loflat kind of just after the opening laps tried to reel Eric Prinot back in again. That was a mistake. Once you're on the grass, you're always going to lose time and lose momentum, and that was an overtake that didn't happen. Eric Chung was lucky to be able to hold on to that position and wasn't compromised, nor was this man. It was a flag-to-flag victory once again for Eric Prinot. And Eric Prinot, as we talk about him, Jack, he is someone that has been in the Ferrari Challenge for many, many years. And when it comes to a track like Mugello, he knows it inside out. That must give you a big advantage.
There's a huge advantage to that. Eric, this is his favorite home track.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many little tricks and things that you learn over the years, and certain corners and things that you can do,
Yes.
and especially in these changing conditions. In the chicanes. There's different lines in the wet, and he obviously knows all of them. So.
I had the privilege of being driven around this track by one of the Corsa Polite drivers, and it's not until you actually are out on the track that you realise. I mean, we see the undulation on the TV, but until you actually drive it, you don't realise. I mean, there are some real elevation changes, Jack.
Yeah, there's big elevation changes, and in some of them, like in the Arrabbiata corners, what actually comes, huge elevation change, as one doesn't see the apex of the corner, so there's one or two of that because of the elevation changes. So one has to know where you're pointing the car.
And it's also when you're perhaps going through a downhill section and you're going into the turn, your body is physically driven against the door, isn't it? You're carrying so much speed. It's absolutely incredible circuit, and I have to say I really, really enjoyed being a passenger. Can't imagine how much enjoyment you get out of actually driving a circuit like this.
No, it's a very satisfactory circuit. It's like circuits like Imola, this one. When you feel you've conquered them a little bit, or you never conquer a circuit, but makes you feel good.
No question about that. And, you certainly felt good at the end of last year, having achieved the absolute top spot and taking the championship. So we look a little bit further down the order. There's Baccarelli, and there's the back end of the 173 and the 183 cars, Manuela and Corinna Gosner. Two of the lady racers, two of three lady racers that are in this race, racing in a separate ladies' cup, and that's Manuela we look at there. So there we have it then, race about to get underway. The grid is set, and there once again is Manuela Gosner that is going from P20 on the grid. It's her 25th race in the Ferrari Challenge Europe, and the Gosner girls are truly lovely, lovely people to speak to. And of course, Thomas Gosner, father, races as well. There's our helicopter taking off, ready to bring us some fantastic aerial pictures. And here you can see an example of just one of those, this fantastic Mugello circuit, which I have to say, right at the beginning of the season, Jack, if I'm honest with you, I was a little bit disappointed that you weren't on the grid. What are your racing plans for the year ahead, may I ask?
Yeah, since I started racing a few years ago, I've done quite a bit. And so this year I've just taken a little bit of a break, and I'm very privileged to be the owner soon of a 488 GT3 and going to do some endurance racing from about June. And then the Sprint Series, as we both know, is the best single series in the world. I'll definitely back. But this year I'm hoping, I'm definitely going to do 3 races this year.
Excellent. So we will see you back on the grid. Fantastic. And the 488, of course, is the car that becomes the challenge car next year.
So a bit of practice.
Looking forward to that. Okay, the grid then, as you can see, it's rolling out on the screen for you right now, and there are various drivers that perhaps are out of position due to a very difficult qualifying this morning, and one of those that will be trying to make headway through the pack right at the start of the race will be Eric Prinot, going from P7 on the grid. The safety car, the Hublot safety car, has been released. It is but a matter of seconds before these cars are released on their formation lap. As always the case with Ferrari Challenge, it is a rolling start, and they'll catch the safety car up, and then they'll be put into grid order, and then it is a rolling start, assuming that the race steward is happy with the way the cars are all lined up. So in sunshine, in dry conditions, we're about to get CoppaShell race number 2 underway. Thomas Loaflad is the man that leads the points. Currently, he goes from P2 on the grid. Tanny Hanna, who had a disastrous day yesterday with a non-finish. Well, the 157 car, he did it all in qualifying by putting it on pole position. All the social media are on screen for you, and this heli shot shows us turn number 1, the San Donato turn, which if you're on the outside there, there's no way, you just cannot carry enough speed to make an overtake, can you? You've got to have the right line through that turn 1.
Yeah, if you're trying to overtake and the guy in front of you takes the inside line, I've tried several times on the outside, but it's you really got to be quite ahead, and he's got to make a mistake, or the outside just doesn't work.
Eric Prinot we're on board with then, the man we're expecting to make headway at the very start of this race. He took the victory yesterday, had a torrid time of it in Monza, it has to be said as well. And of course there was a real battle between Eric Prinot and yourself and Gautam Singhania last year for that eventual championship, wasn't there?
Yeah. We were all very close coming into Mugello, and it was an exciting year. But like every year it turns out exciting, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a few guys that are going to be in the same position at the end of this year.
Yes, I'm sure you're right. So Beppe Scanetti then is the driver of the safety car himself, a former Ferrari Challenge champion. And boy, what a driver he is. He took me out at Paul Ricard last year and scared me into diggy fits, truthfully. Absolutely an amazing driver. We're on board with Thomas Gostner then, a father of Manuela and Corinna that are also racing in this CoppaShell race. And of course, Thomas's son David races in the Trofeo Pirelli category of the Ferrari Challenge. So on board the Hublot safety car as you'll see a marshal in just a few moments' time holding up a board which instructs the drivers to get into their grid positions, ready for the start of this race. There he was on the left-hand side, going through the final chicane, which is a very, very quick one, the Biondetti chicane, which is turn number 13, before heading to the Bucina turn, which is turn number 14, the final turn. And then the race will be underway. We'll put the lights up to the top of the screen for you. Now, if race control are happy, the safety car will peel off at the end of this final turn. And we go on board with the Hublot safety car. He'll give it a footful of throttle any moment now and head off towards the pit lane. And there you can see just how keen and eager Tommy Lindroth looks right now. There are the lights at the top of the screen. We're about to go racing. Race number 2 for CoppaShell here in the Ferrari Challenge. We're at the Mugello circuit. The lights go green. Let's go racing. And it is drag race to turn number 1. And Thomas Loaflad appears to be on the throttle a bit quicker than Tanny Hanna, but Tanny Hanna fights back now, so they are neck and neck as they head into turn 1. And Tanny Hanna is always going to have the benefit here. Rick Lovett just taking a look up the inside of von Skeltermaier a little bit further down the order. Eric Prinot around the outside of Kugardaruglu right now, but you can see how that just drags you to the outside of the circuit. Such is the elevation change, and all making it through, bar one right at the very back. In trouble there, it's the Deborah Mayer, another one of the lady racers, whose car has pirouetted right at the out of that turn. So there is von Skeltermaier and also Rick Lovett baying and battling together there, both Kessel Racing drivers, and the one that's really fallen back through the pack is Tommy Lindroth. So here in replay, and Deborah Mayer then just out onto the gravel and then onto the grass. And I think, Jacques, once you're on the grass, you're always a passenger, aren't you?
Yeah, always a passenger. There's not much you can do. Just hold onto the steering wheel and hope it all goes well.
Yes. I was just looking at that replay to try and find out what went wrong with Tommy Lindroth, his start. Clearly he didn't have the start that he would have wanted, but whilst all that has been going on, Thomas Loaflad is past Tanny Hanna. Here's Eric Prinot then. Told you he would be trying to make hay while the sun shone right in the early stages of this race. He wants to get further up the order. He's being hounded by von Skeltermaier and also Rick Lovett there. Through the chicane come the cars. Tanny Hanna then P2. It's Thomas Loaflad right at the top of the points and right at the top of the charts in this race at the moment as well. Baccarelli is P3. Then it's Jean-Claude Sada is P4 with Alexander West new into the championship this weekend running in P5. Eric Prinot there is making a move, and again his knowledge of this track. Now this is going to be a drag race once again to turn 1 between Eric Prinot and Alexander West, then in the Scuderia Autoropa car. And Tanny Hanna is, well, he's certainly keeping with Thomas Loflad, and presumably he'll be hoping that he'll be able to keep the pressure on Loflad and get Loflad just to make a tiny error. But Eric Prinot there around the outside, is he going to make that stick? Surely he's not going to have enough momentum, but yes, he has. That was a brilliant move by Prinot.
2 cars in, well, yeah, he's made it stick. 2 cars in the last corner, fantastic. Oh,
and that's Murat Kuruduruglu in strife there. Now, I actually think that happened all on his own, and thankfully, every other driver avoids that. That was really, that was a big impact. So safety car is being deployed. No surprise there for the Murat Kuruduruglu car, stuck right in the middle of the circuit there. Just what we didn't want to see. And we'll get a replay of that very shortly. But the order as we go under safety car is Thomas Loflad, Tanny Hanna, then it is Baccarelli and Jean-Claude Sada, with Eric Prinot having made his way now up to P5 ahead of Alexander West and Fons Skeltermeyer and Rick Lovett, and then Tommy Lindroth, the big loser out from the start, who's back down to P9. So we await the replay of that incident. And there the anxiety on the pit purchase, you can imagine. They too are waiting just to look at that once again. So Thomas Loflad's pit board out there. Here we go. He was on his own, wasn't he?
Yeah, lost the rear. Pity for Murat, because he's made this weekend was a good weekend for him. He probably made 5 positions in qualifying, both qualifying 1 and 2. Pity.
I have to say, credit to all the drivers as well, because being in that position where that car was, they all managed to avoid, didn't they? Because I could fear that that was going to be collected.
Yeah, somebody almost did, but thankfully.
Well, we're going to be under the safety car for a few laps, that's for sure, whilst the Murat car is got out of the way. So safety car called upon then. We're barely 5 minutes into the race before that really rather nasty crash, which saw quite an impact. And hopefully Murat is perfectly okay. I mean, the actual 458 car is incredibly strong and has so much integrity, and it's not only a joy to drive, but actually a very safe racing car to drive, Shaq.
Yeah, it is a safe racing car, thankfully, and I've seen some big accidents in the year. I remember Eric Chung's big accident in Monza last year. Yes. He took a big impact, but climbed out of the car fine.
Okay, there is Luzic, Michael Luzic from Motor Service. He's in the pit lane. We also saw Murat getting out of the car and looked to be completely unharmed, which is great to see. So the car's being led around by the safety car then. And of course what this does, and I always say this, but for somebody like Thomas Loflad, who's done it brilliantly, he's in the lead, whatever slight advantage Thomas Loflad had, of course, is all zeroed now, isn't it? Because once you're behind the safety car, everyone can bunch up, and any advantage that he had, you kind of think, drat, you know, he's going to lose out, isn't he? Because he's got to effectively do it all over again and try and eke out that margin to the P2 driver, Tanny Hanna.
Yeah, when you're in the front, you never wish for a safety car, and when you're in Eric Prinot's position right now, he's very happy that that safety car has come out. But I must say he's done brilliant driving up to this point. And a guy that I must say, Jean-Claude, the US driver that won the CoppaShell in the US last year, very impressed. He's been keeping it nice and steady, and he climbed up the field very nicely yesterday, and I see he's in 5th today.
Yes. There's Fons Skeltermeyer weaving from side to side, and Rick Lovett as well. When you're in this safety car position, of which you have been, Jacques, how important is it to try and keep some heat into those Pirelli tyres?
It is important, very important to keep the heat in. Some guys do it differently. Some guys weave side to side.
Yeah.
Others prefer just to light up the tyres a little bit, and a lot of hard braking instead of weaving side to side. So it's a different preference for each one.
Here's a replay of the start then, and before we even got to turn one, Tommy Lindrath was losing places hand over fist. That was Deborah Mayer going around. Deborah and Claudio Schiavone are new into the championship. Tanny Hanna losing out to Thomas Loflad then, and Eric Prinot already on a charge and making up several places. And that was the Murat incident where, as you say, the back end just stepped out, didn't it? And that was what concerned me, I think, the most. And very, very good avoidance there. I think that's Eric, isn't it?
Or it could have been Michael.
Okay.
Lutzek, I'm not sure.
Nonetheless, avoiding that car, and jolly good that they did as well. And to the drivers.
Oh. It's quite a big impact.
There's one just glanced the car, wasn't there? There's just see from there, but there's Murat out of the car and appears to be all okay. And this was the start then. And Eric Prinot already then on a charge, and he was outside going around turn one, and that's where Tommy Lindrath lost out a number of places. And Thomas Loflad, he was just very, very brave, wasn't he? Around turn one, he kept on the outside, but just kept his foot in and was able to put Tanny Hanna back one place.
Yeah, I think he saw he had a bit of a gap. He had a good start, so he was able to come to the apex of the corner almost. So I think if they went in there side by side, it would have been a different story. But
sure. Good to see all those replays and answers just one or two questions that we had with regards to the start and who went where. And our friend the beer hunter Tommy Lindrath was the big loser out. So we're still under the safety car, and we're on board with the Ineco MP racing driver Eric Prinot then, who is running in P5. And right behind Eric is Alexander West, and then it's Von Skeltermar and Rick Lovett, the inter-Kessel racing battle that's going on. And of course, Kessel were your team, Jacques, and the team run by the enigmatic Ronnie Kessel. Really, really good team and good fun team as well.
Yeah, great. Ronnie's a fantastic guy, and the team is wonderful people. They're like a family and a really good team. And yeah, there'll be no love lost during the race between Fons and Rick, but everybody's good friends after the racing. But yeah, everybody for his own right now.
Absolutely. Once the helmet goes on, you're out there racing, aren't you? And it doesn't matter whether you're effective teammates or not. You're absolutely right. Okay, so lights still on the safety car there. No word on our race control screen as to when the safety car is coming in, but as is always the case, the clock continues to tick down, which means that for all those drivers then who are anxious to make their way up the order, which of course each and every one of them is, the time will run out. So staying on board with the safety car. And are these anxious moments, Jacques, when you're sitting there stuck behind the safety car? Presumably when you get in at the start of the race, you've got half a plan in your mind of what you would like to achieve. And then when you get something like this, which is a real fillip to that, isn't it? Because all your plans have got to change now. You've got to adopt a completely different attitude and perhaps even strategy.
Yeah, it's the guys will be planning now. Everybody will be thinking of their start again and what they can do. And I'm sure they'll be talking to the pits also. They'll be getting commentary from that. And I think everybody will be looking at the incident every time they go past and see how far they are with clearing up the damaged car, because that gives you an indication when the safety car comes in.
Yeah, of course.
And then you might aggressively start warming up your tyres from that point again.
And presumably, talking of tyres, Jacques, when you have a safety car period like this and you're running behind the safety car, which is incidentally coming in this lap, presumably that's elongating the working life of your tyre a bit, because you're not pushing as hard as you would during a racing lap, for example. So we are going to have a benefit perhaps at the end of this race when the tyres have got a bit more life in them.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And different guys wear their tyres differently on different racing styles. So yeah, definitely gives you more life.
Okay, then, with safety car coming in this lap. P1 is Thomas Loflad, P2 is Tanny Hanna, and as Jacques said just a little while ago, the people like Tanny Hanna and Eric Prinot will be rubbing their hands with invisible soap, thinking that this is potentially an opportunity for them. Can Tanny Hanna wrestle that lead back from Thomas Loflad? Can Eric Prinot get past Jean-Claude Sarda and Baccarelli? Well, we're going to be finding out very, very soon indeed, because the safety car is coming in this lap. The lights are out on the safety car, and well, Tanny Hanna particularly will be jolly keen to try and find a way past Thomas Loflad. It's going to be no easy task, I can assure you. Then it's Baccarelli, P3, then Sarda, then Prinot, 5. It's Alexander West, then Skeltermar, Lovett, and Tommy Lindroth, and Eric Chun rounding out the top 10 as they stand behind the safety car. We're going to have around about 16 and a half minutes of pure racing to come for these CoppaShell drivers, and the race interrupted by that safety car brought out because of Murat's car going into the barriers. So safety car away then, and we are waiting the graphic at the top of your screen to change from yellow to green, and Thomas Loflad anticipated that absolutely brilliantly, didn't he? Because Tanny Hanna wasn't able to get on terms, but Eric Prinot is certainly charging as well. But Tanny Hanna was left in the wake of Thomas Loflad, but now Tanny Hanna does get ever closer to him. Von Skeltermar just having a look at Alexander West ahead of him in the Scuderia Autoropa car. But Thomas Loflad anticipated safety car coming in and did a jolly good job of getting away, but he's now coming under pressure from Tanny Hanna. So you can see Hanna all over the back of the Thomas Loflad car, but actually not quick enough to do anything about it. Eric Prinot thought he was going to take a look at the inside then going into the chicane, but chose not to. Von Skeltermar, Rick Lovett going through there, but there is our race leader, Thomas Loflad. And Thomas Loflad and Tanny Hanna, of course, will be trying to pull away from Baccarelli and Jean-Claude Sarda. And Eric Prinot knows that he's got to try and get past those two pretty early on to have any hopes of getting towards a podium position, Jack.
Yeah, Baccarelli is a new guy to us, well, this year, so I don't know his driving.
Fons has got past the Scuderia Autoropa car as the Alexander West car runs out a bit wide, then just wondered if there was going to be an opportunity for Rick Lovett, but he wasn't able to take advantage of that. But Von Skeltermar has moved up a further place, and for now Thomas Loflad looks to have the measure of Tanny Hanna, but further down the order, just a place or so, is Jean-Claude Sarda looking at Baccarelli now, and Eric Prinot is going to join in that battle also and really pile the pressure onto both of them. Now when you're in this position, Jack, when you are Jean-Claude Sarda, you're not only hunting, but being hunted as well. You're trying to defend and attack, and there's contact between Prinot there and the 116 car, but luckily, no demise of either of them, but Eric Prinot, now that was quite a forceful but determined move, but he made it happen.
Yeah, he made it happen, and I think Jean-Claude is a driver thinking, and he gave the gap, otherwise there might have been drama between the two of them. And as you were saying earlier, it's when you being attacked, it's always a problem. And yeah, Jean-Claude suffered that one, I think.
And right now, Eric Prinot then on Baccarelli, and that's something I've always said in commentary, and I don't know whether it's true or not, maybe you'll answer this, is that when you have to start driving using the rearview mirror because you're very, very conscious and focused on having to defend, well, certainly the gap was there, wasn't it? It closed, but in fairness, Eric did have the gap to go into. Do you ever drive looking at that rearview mirror, Jacques, or do you just focus on what you're doing ahead of you?
No, it's difficult. You got to try and focus as much as you can ahead of you, but you got to look, like the example there with Jean-Claude. He definitely saw Eric there and made a bit of a gap. Yeah. Because otherwise, yeah, he didn't continue closing the gap, and that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you know, both of you could be out.
And that's not what we want to see. So Leonardo Baccarelli then is under pressure from Eric Prinot now. And we've got 13 and a half minutes remaining in this race as Eric Prinot takes a very different line there and just tries to sneak to the inside, but doesn't have enough momentum to be able to do that. We look rearwards now from the Eric Prinot car, and all of a sudden Jean-Claude is going to come under pressure from Fons Skeltermar as well, your former Kessel Racing mate there in the Shark's Teeth. And when we have a spare moment, I'll tell you what the legend behind the teeth is, because I found that out for the first time today. And I'd never known, and I actually asked Fons, what is the reason behind those teeth at the front of the car? As I say, when the racing calms down, perhaps I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'd love to know, because I don't know myself, having spent 2 years on the same team with Fons, so I haven't asked the question.
Okay.
Jean-Claude's in a similar position again. Trying to attack and being attacked.
Baccarelli has got up the road a bit, hasn't he, from Eric Prinot, because actually Zada is really pushing Prinot now. All of a sudden, Prinot is under a bit of pressure himself, but I'm sure he won't yield to that, as once again he's on the back of Baccarelli here, and he's right alongside him there. And Eric is definitely forceful in terms of what he tries to do, and 9 times out of 10 it works. Actually, Jack, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's the problem. And as you can see, he's also now lost some place. He's away from the Baccarelli car, so yeah, you got to try and time your moves perfectly, otherwise you lose out to the guy in front of you also.
Presumably where Prinot will have an advantage here is his knowledge of this circuit over Baccarelli's. But Baccarelli, to be fair to him, is driving a really, really good race, isn't he?
I don't know Baccarelli, but amazing. I don't know if it's his first time in CoppaShell. I think it is. He's doing fantastic racing amongst all the new guys. Well, he's the new guy amongst all the older guys who've been in the series for a while.
Yes, yeah, no mean feat. Fastest lap came from Thomas Loflad, 155.049, and we're still lapping with the top, certainly Loflad in the 155s, as Prinot once again lines up the red car ahead and tries to keep that pressure on the car ahead, in the hope that perhaps just a half a gap will open up, and you can bet your bottom dollar that if half a gap it does open up and Eric is close enough, then he will go for it like now. But he's not quite alongside the car. This is through the final turn, and they'll head up down the start-finish straight once again with just 11 minutes on the clock of this race to come. So Eric really needs to be on this now. Here comes the live gap then. It is going to be in tenths between the two of them. There we are, just 2.5 tenths between Luca Baccarelli and Eric Prinot then, as Prinot now dives up the inside, and he's got that job done, surely. Now surely that was a mistake by Baccarelli, just allowing that, but Baccarelli fights back now. Eric Prinot is going to be in the right position for the next turn, and providing he can carry the speed, then presumably now, as Baccarelli comes under a bit of pressure from Jean-Claude Zada. This is great racing, isn't it?
Fantastic. That was a great move on Eric's part, and yeah, he executed that very well.
And now Fons Skeltermar on the back of Zada was trying to buy into everything that's happening ahead, and Eric Prinot now disappearing up the road has finally secured himself at least a podium position for now for P3. And we're looking back from Eric Prinot, and now that he's been released from those clutches of Baccarelli, just look at the pace that he's got, Jacques.
Yeah. But I must say, Baccarelli, he's obviously done some racing, because cool, calm guy.
Yeah.
He's obviously, he didn't take too much of Eric's pressure, so he's obviously not new to the racing scene.
You're right. So there we can see the Ineco MP driver that's now running in P3. There's Baccarelli in P4, then it's Zada P5, then the Shark's Teeth of Fons Skeltermar, followed by his teammate Rick Lovett, the Canadian racer. Both of those running at the moment, P6 and P7. So the battle for fourth position between Baccarelli, Zada and Skeltermar and Lovett. Look at them, they're all like a train together, as Fons just takes a look at the inside once again. It is around this final turn. And then the long drag, which is for the first part of the home straight, is uphill. Then you reach a crest and go downhill into turn number 1. Alexander West, then the Scuderia Autoropa driver, with a bit hanging off the back of the car. Does that make any difference, Jacques, when you lose a bit of panel work like that?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bit of difference, but I must say I've had that happen before, and it's not that bad. So he should be fine. Hopefully the marshals won't want to call him in. Because sometimes the marshals might not be happy with a bit that's hanging off the car. So.
And in that situation, you'd be shown what we call the meatball flag, wouldn't you? That there's a part hanging off your car.
Yeah, the one you don't want to see.
Yes, there was Fons, and this time he's got to make it work, hasn't he? Well, fair play to Sada. He's just not yielding. Rick Lovett trying to take advantage there as well. And not only that, you've got Eric Chung in the mix also, a man that celebrated his 100th start yesterday in the Ferrari Challenge. So this really is very, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is very exciting. Yeah, Eric, who does the Asian series also, and has won CoppaShell in the Asian series, does a lot of racing. Big enthusiast.
Yes, absolutely, and a lovely guy as well. Well, there was Fons trying to have a go through that chicane. It didn't quite work out, and he nearly lost out to Rick Lovett as well, didn't he?
Nice battle.
Yes, it is great to watch, and great to see that replay. In the meantime, there is just look at how Eric Prinot is catching Tani Hanna now. What have we got? 7 minutes left on the clock. Just wondering whether Prinot will. What has he got? 3 seconds to make up. Now, that we didn't see live, and that was Fons Skeltermaar just into the back of that car. And that car is beached now in the gravel, and I suspect from there it's not coming out.
Yeah, that's a pity.
And that is a bit of a shame. So Sada then, his race is done and dusted, and Marshall running over to have a look. Now we have a yellow flag there at turn 10. It's not impossible that the safety car would be called again, just where that car is, or whether they consider that to be a danger. We will see. There is our race leader, the Stylef Squadra Corsa racer Thomas Loflad then, who came into this race leading the points, and he's doing his points haul no harm whatsoever in terms of leading this race. And he's some 4 seconds up on Tani Hanna. Now, the last thing Thomas Loflad needs is for a race suspension at this point. The incident involving cars number 177 and 136 is going to be under investigation, and I think that's fair. Now, that is the Alexander West, and that piece of panel work we were talking about flying off that car. Now, that's debris left on the track, which that's on the exit of the pit lane, isn't it?
Yeah, there might be some on the track, not sure.
So we continue racing for now, all bar that yellow flag at turn 10. There is Tani Hanna, and crucially, the margin between Tani Hanna and Eric Prinot remains the same, and Fons Skeltermaar gets a drive-through penalty for that incident, Jack.
I think, yeah, that was probably correct. Saad lost it with that little tap Fons gave him, so fair.
And from Fons's point of view, certainly not malicious. Just when you're on the edge like that, Jacques, you know, sometimes you make a mistake, don't you?
Yeah, unfortunately. We've all made plenty of them.
Yes. So there, confirmation on your screen then that drive-through penalty for car number 177. That's the car of Fons Skeltermaar. Well, in all that melee, it would appear from the timing screen that Eric Chung got past Rick Lovett. Now, I didn't see that live, so fair play to Eric Chung. He's managed to get past Rick Lovett. Both of them, of course, will be elevated a further position now because Skeltermaar has got that drive-through penalty. And now, Rick Lovett, I'm just wondering whether there might be a slight issue with his car, because he seems to be dropping down the order a bit, and now he's under pressure from Tommy Lindroth. This is the battle for P7. There is Tommy Lindroth in car number 127. The Canadian racer Rick Lovett is the car ahead of him. And I just wonder, you can see where Eric has really eked out a gap over Rick Lovett, whether there's just a small issue with his car, Jacques, potentially.
No, I can't say at this stage, but yeah, I suppose it could be. Because like you say, the gap, there's a gap appearing between Eric in front and him. So
just seems to have lost a bit of pace, doesn't he? Where once he was fighting with Fons just a couple of laps ago, he appears to be dropping back a little bit now, but appears to be managing it okay because the threat from Tommy Lindroth has gone away just for the moment. Thomas Loflad has got 3.6 second margin over Tani Hanna, and well, Eric Prinot is bringing a few tenths down. He did a very fast sector 1. Whether Tani Hanna will be able to resist that attack from Eric Prinot. Eric Prinot's got a way to go yet. Now, this is difficult because Fons has got to take a drive-through penalty, hasn't he? So he's fighting with Baccarelli there is unnecessary, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Now, Fons will be aware of the fact that he's got to drive through, won't he?
Yeah, the pit wall 100% would have told him that, so he'd know about it.
So to be fighting at this stage when you know you've got to take a drive-through penalty is futile, isn't it? And basically you have to take that drive-through penalty within 3 laps of being notified.
Yeah, otherwise a black flag comes out and then your race is over.
Well, he's not taken his drive-through penalty yet. There is our race leader, Thomas Loflad. Here is P2, Tanny Hanna, and there's Eric Prinot fast charging to try and get on the back of Tanny Hanna, but actually he's going to run out of time. Von Skeltermar then takes his drive-through penalty. We've only got 2 3/4 minutes left on the clock, so barring any disasters. Now there's that piece of panel work on the exit of the pit lane, and Fons just avoids it, doesn't he? Puts it through the middle of the car. So Loflad from Hanna, from Prinot, and von Skeltermar is going to filter back out in P13, just behind Daniel Quensley. No, he's going further back down the order as others do manage to get past. So Corinna Gostner, Claudia Schiavone, so gone from where he was to P15 now, following the drive-through penalty. Corinna Gostner then leading the Ladies' Cup, and it's the second time that we've seen Corinna Gostner up on the podium for this weekend. A good time of it there in the 173 car, and we have under 2 minutes of racing left to come. The race being led by Thomas Loflad, who's just under 4 seconds ahead of Tanny Hanna, who in turn, well, his margin over Eric Prinot has been brought down to just a second, but with just a minute and a half left on the clock as we look at Christian Kinch there, who's battling with Alexandra West ahead. There is Corinna Gostner once again in that 173 machine. Now this is the battle that I was talking about there between Alexander West and Christian Kinch. And there is Thomas Gostner, father of the 2 girls racing. We're on the final lap then. So can the Scuderia Autoropa driver hold off the charges of Christian Kinch? They're battling over P9. Running in P10 is Wayne Mars, the UK racer. There's Alexander West and Christian Kinch.
I'm sure for Swedish pride, the one will want to get in front of the other one.
Yes.
2 Swedes.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Eric Prinot has taken another 10th out of Tanny Hanna, but sadly it's all going to be, I reckon, too late, isn't it? Unless Tanny makes an uncharacteristic mistake. So Thomas Loflad then, the Starlef Squadra Corsa racer, cementing his dominance. But there is Eric Prinot and Tanny Hanna then. We are on the final lap, and you can see over the last 3 laps how Eric Prinot has really brought that gap down between himself and Tanny Hanna. I think he's going to have to satisfy himself with the 3rd step on the podium, and it's not, well, it's a long season, and it's very easy for me to say and pontificate that don't throw it all away, keep your podium position, because points mean prizes come the end of the year. But once you're a racing driver, you want to get past that next car, come what may, don't you, Jacques?
Yeah, that's a problem. But I think if one's racing for the series, one has to take that into account.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you want to win it all, but sometimes you have to think about the end of the year. And well, fantastic race by Eric, coming through the field like that, and Thomas, just perfect.
Absolutely, is really showing his dominance, isn't he? Goes through pit in and heads towards the checkered flag, and Thomas Loflad wins in race 2 for the CoppaShell here at Mugello. So there is Thomas Loflad. He takes P1. P2 goes the way of Tanny Hanna, and P3 going the way of Eric Prinot. It'll be Baccarelli that takes P4, and there's some delight there on the Starlef Squadra Corsa, because actually the team enjoy the success. And actually, as we see the 106 car there in the wall.
Ooh,
now, there was another car there that you noticed and I didn't.
Kinch and West, I think. Or talking about.
Oh.
Not good. Doesn't look. That was the Kinch and West battle, I think.
Wasn't it? Yeah, over P8, wasn't it?
Looked like it ended in some drama, unfortunately.
I was saying the the teams, they share the success and they also share the downtimes too, don't they, Jacques? Everyone feels it when you're doing well, everyone feels it when you don't do so well.
Oh no, this is entirely a team sport, and Yoshi and Mick, I saw Yoshi, the team principal, this morning, and yeah, they were all hyped up, just as much as the driver.
Yeah. Well, doubtless we'll see a replay of that incident which involved Alexander West and Christian Kinch. There's Rick Lovett, the Canadian racer, who I felt lost a bit of pace over the perhaps final third of that race. So here it is.
Ooh.
And that's actually, it's Wayne Mars. It's Wayne Mars that's in there. And I didn't quite see how that started, but that's the Wayne Mars car there, the 160 car. Both of the drivers are out and they're okay.
Okay. So Wayne, a guy I used to race against 3 years ago. So new to the series. Shame. I wonder what happened there. I didn't quite see.
No. Be good to see that again if we can. Here we go.
Oh, it was West that lost. Alexander lost the car, maybe.
He was just on. I think he got one wheel on the grass.
Yeah. Very unfortunate. Shame. Shame.
Good to see both those drivers smiling, and the internal fire extinguisher has gone off in Wayne's car, hasn't it? Wayne, of course, who won the GT Cup last year.
Yes, with Charlie Hollings.
Yes, who has been in your position, standing there with a microphone on a number of occasions.
Yeah, and coached both of us, and has done a fantastic job. Great driver, Charlie, great friend, nice guy.
Yeah. So Thomas Loflad, the winner from Hannah, Prinot, Baccarelli, Chung, Lovett, Lindroth, Kinch, and Ghostner, and Quensley then rounding out the top 10. But good to see that both Wayne Mars and Alexander West are out of their cars and they're all okay, although the cars look really rather used after that.
A big impact Wayne had, and yeah, the fire extinguisher going off in the car, wow.
And that's impact that's done that, isn't it?
I guess so, yeah. That's incredible. And that's not nice stuff to get on one. It's actually got quite a acidic feel. And,
okay.
Yeah.
I was talking to Wayne just before coming up to the commentary booth, and he was saying that how he got hit yesterday, and we didn't actually see it on camera because he was further down the order. And he was hoping for better things today, and I'm very sorry to see that. Thomas Loflad enjoys his victory there, doesn't he? And here comes Tanny Hanna getting out of the car. On his way now. And Eric Prinot also in that Parfumé area, also with ever-present Monica alongside him.
Tanny, we're very happy with that position.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he would have liked to stay, but he's also new to the European Series. Well, he's done a few races, but he'd be very happy with that. I'm sure Eric also from where he started.
And there, of course, in the separate Ladies' Cup this year, is the victor of Corinna Ghostner then. It's 2 out of 2 for her this weekend. She'll be absolutely delighted at that. Also delighted was Manuela, her sister, this morning, extolling the virtues of the way Corinna is driving at the moment.
Yeah, incredible. It's normally Manuela, so good one on Corinna, the rivalry between the two wonderful ladies. Good to see. There's a little boys.
Yeah, big family effort. Okay, let's take a look at the highlights of that race, and David Ghostner in there as well to offer his congratulations. Here they come. So from the start then, it was Tanny Hanna versus Thomas Loflad, and Thomas Loflad then all the way around the outside was able to take that P1 position. Deborah Mayer was one of the early casualties, just getting on the grass and having that car spin around. Eric Prinot was really on a charge and was trying to get as far ahead as he could, and that was an incident we didn't want to see with Aruglu into the barriers. Thankfully out of the car all okay, and everyone just avoiding that stricken 458. That brought out the safety car, which of course allowed everyone to bunch up once again, which meant many had to do it all over again. But a replay of the incident that there's Murat getting out of the car completely unharmed. So the safety car was out, and as I mentioned, bunched them all up again, and actually for the likes of Eric Prinot, it was advantageous because that meant that he was ever closer to those that he wished to challenge ahead of him and try try and make his way up the order, aiming, of course, to try and find a podium position. And some of the moves were forceful, but absolutely legal and fair, and he was going to make up as many positions as he possibly could. Thomas Loflad, though, another very, very good victory for him as he took the checkered flag. P2 going the way of Tani Hanna, and Eric Prinot did get what he wanted, which was a podium position for P3. Thomas Loflad enjoying his victory. And here then in the Drivers' Championship, and look at this already at this early stage of the championship. Thomas Loflad on 83 points, Eric Prinot now on 50. Big margin, Jack.
It is a big margin. Thomas will feel very confident in that position, and Eric and the other guys have got a lot of work to do, but it is commanding after two weekends.
So we'll be heading up to the podium, which is where Jacques and I stands, is about 2 meters to the right-hand side of us. Sadly, we haven't got a window on the right side, so we can't quite see. But there, all the drivers being prepared, ready for the podium. Here comes Eric Prinot then, onto the third step of the podium. And Tani Hanna. He's enjoying the moment, Jacques.
Yeah, they all are. Tani was telling me his pole position reminded of his days in Lebanon on the snow.
Right.
So no wonder he got pole today.
Fair point. And there is Corinna Gosner then, who Ladies' Cup winner. Here's the national anthem. So the Pirelli caps go back on, of which you've worn a few of those, Jack.
Yeah. Nice collection back home.
Paolo Poli, then the Chief Executive Officer here at the Mugello circuit. And actually, it's a circuit of which you should be very, very proud. All the facilities here is a good, challenging driver circuit. The facilities are first class, aren't they?
Yes, I must say they've, and maybe that's because it's in Italy and in Tuscany, but they got the best canteen food, and the setting is beautiful. I think the most picturesque circuit in the world, really.
Yes. Eric takes 2 trophies because, of course, he takes the Gentleman Trophy as well. And the Ladies' Cup trophy goes the way 2 out of 2 this weekend for Corinna Gosner. It was nice to see during the podium Manuela, her sister there, offering her congratulations. In fact, the entire Gosner family will. And they all pose together for the photographs atop the podium. Loflad, Hanna, Prinot, and also Corinna Gosner up there. And here comes the champagne then. Eric's a bit slow off the mark in terms of the bubbly. I was a bit surprised there.
He looks like the most tired there. He did the most work, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps so. Yeah, perhaps so. So there we have it then. CoppaShell race done and dusted. We still have a Trofeo Pirelli race to come. And, well, all the forecasts with regard to weather that we've heard, all is naught, really. Next race, as you can see on screen, 13:20 GMT for Trofeo Pirelli Race 2. Jacques Diver, our thanks to you for sharing your time with us. Really appreciate that and look forward to seeing you back out on the track very soon.
Great privilege. Thanks, Dave.
So Jacques Diver then, the CoppaShell, the reigning CoppaShell champion, who took time to be with us in commentary, and an absolute delight that was. Stand by, Trofeo Pirelli race still to come then, with more fantastic images and more fantastic racing from the Ferrari Challenge For now, from Mugello, we'll see you in a while. Bye-bye.